Yeah, Friday! You have reached episode 68 of the Ranting Weight Watcher. I am your host, Donato Russo. I hope you enjoy the show today. If this is your first time here and you enjoy the show, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If the podcast app you're listening on allows you to rate the show, please leave a 4-star or 5-star rating. Any rating is greatly appreciated. Here we are, another Friday closer to Christmas, and the final bout that is the holiday fight. Are you guys ready? I know I am. Well, let's not waste any time. Let's get into this. Journey updates. Okay, guys, not a great week, not a bad week. Down 0.2 this week. And so for the month of December, because it's the first way into December, we are down 0.2. Total loss since January 2019 is 138.2. And the pounds remaining to get to milestone 150 is 11.8 pounds. Pounds remaining to milestone 175, 36.8 pounds. And the pounds remaining to milestone 200, 61.8 pounds. Not a terrible weigh-in, but not a great weigh-in either, in my mind at least. I know there are plenty of people that would take a 0.2 loss and run with it. I can't help but think for someone like me who still has plenty, pretty close to 100 pounds to lose here, still at this point, just doesn't seem enough to go a whole 7 days and come out with 0.2. But we're not going to be unhappy about it. We're just going to keep going and keep doing what we do because there's still plenty of work to do to get to where we want to be. So I've been doing something lately that I don't usually do this till the beginning of the year, but I'm doing it a few weeks early here. And I reflect back on the previous year. So I usually do this as the first podcast in January where I reflect back. And I'm a little disappointed because I know this past January, I wrote myself a letter because, I normally go over it, after the new year and see how I did based on the letter I wrote last January. And I realized I don't remember where I put it last year. So that really, really sucks. I mean, it has nothing to do, it kind of has something to do with today's episode, but I didn't need it today. But in a couple of weeks, I'm going to need it, and I don't know where it is. And it sucks. And if I can't find it before New Year's, it's going to suck. I've been reflecting on the past year, on this year, 2021, and just as a whole, because I've been pretty aggravated lately with the way my journey has been going. It's been going up and down like a roller coaster. And I remember back in, it was April 17th, to be exact. That was the day I hit the 125 milestone. And it was on that day that I set the goal for the 150 milestone. And I set the goal originally I set it for October 1st. And then I said to myself, nah. And then I chose September 30th. It's a huge difference. But for something about it wanted me to have it be the end of the previous month. I don't know why. But I had worked my butt off working towards September 30th. And it sucks because on August 26th, I was 2 pounds away. I was 2 pounds away from the 150 pound milestone. Exactly. And then everything just went crazy. Up and down scale results. And yet, the craziest part of it all is nothing's changed in regards to eating and exercise. I have kept it the same. Haven't changed a thing. And my weight has wildly fluctuated. I didn't make my goal of September 30th to be at the 150-pound milestone. That's needless to say. Even though on August 26th, a month earlier, I was 2 pounds away. And still at this moment, being 138 down, and it's almost the end of the year, and I haven't gotten the 150 milestone. So in thinking of it in retrospect like that, I was pretty aggravated because it almost feels like the year, I don't want to say wasted, because that'll just piss off a bunch of people. It just feels like the year is not as much a success as I would like to call it. To get 2 milestones in the same year would have been a big deal to me. A very big deal. I mean, I'm still right there. I'm still going to get it. It's not if, it's when. It's always been when. Never been if. And anybody who's been with me any amount of time knows when I approach these milestones, it is in very dramatic fashion that I get them. Very, very dramatic. I mean, even this one, to come within 2 pounds of it, only to drop to, like 12 pounds from it. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. When you find yourself not happy with where you're currently at. But first, we're going to take a break. So don't go anywhere.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening to the Ranting Weight Watcher. If you would like to connect on social media, we would love to connect with you. On Facebook and Instagram, search for @The Ranting Weight Watcher. On Twitter, search for @The Ranting WW. On the Weight Watchers Connect app, search for @Ranting Weight Watcher. You can also email the show, say hello or share your story with us. Send your emails to therantingweightwatcher@gmail.com. You can also call the show and leave a voicemail message that could be played on the air. Just call 505-652-7268. Again, that's 505-652-7268. We look forward to hearing from you. If this is your first time here, and you enjoyed the show, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. We are proud to announce that the Ranting Weight Watcher is now rated number 4 in Feedspot.com's top 10 Weight Watchers podcasts. Click the link in the show's description if you wish to see the full list. If the podcast app you are listening with allows you to rate the show, please leave a 4-star or 5-star rating, whatever is in your heart to leave. Any rating is greatly appreciated. And now, without further delay, here is the star of the show, Donato Russo.
And we are back. Thanks for sticking with me. So I did want to talk today about what happens, what goes on in the mind when you're not where you want to be, where you're not where you're expected to be at any given moment in your journey. You expect to be somewhere. Like for me, like I said before, on September 30th, I was wanting to be at the 150 milestone by September 30th. When you expect these things to go a certain way and you realize they're not going to go, from the moment you realize they're not going to go your way, it becomes a choice of what happens next. You can let it consume you, or you can adapt and keep going. And I have had situations throughout my journey where I've done both. When I approached the 100-pound milestone, it was a very crazy up and down time. And I became pretty obsessed with it, with the timing of when I would hit it. I kept changing it and changing it and changing it. I think that was the goal that taught me not to set time limits, even though I haven't necessarily learned my lesson, because the 150-pound milestone, right away, I put a time limit on it. But in reality, from April to the end of September would have averaged out to, I believe it was between 4 and 5 pounds a month. So in my mind, the mathematics were possible. And that's why I chose the date that I chose. Because it wasn't like far-fetched. I didn't need to lose 10 pounds a month to do it. It definitely got frustrating, extremely frustrating to approach the 100-pound milestone. And now I'm thinking back to, even the 75-pound milestone was a rough one for me. Because it was right around this time of year. It was, I believe I wanted it before, yes, exactly. I wanted it the Saturday before Thanksgiving, 2020. So, what can you do? What happens when you feel this way? What happens when you get these moods where things aren't going your way and what seemed to be possible, you realize quickly is no longer possible in the time frame you've set it for? And it seems like everything is going against you. Anybody in their right mind would become frustrated beyond recognition. They could easily go back to old habits. Easily. I mean, emotional eating just knocking on your door. I mean, I had the fleeting thought of it myself when I basically came to the realization that I would not hit the 150 milestone in time. These things, pass through your head. Now, for me, they passed through my head, but that's all they did. You understand what I'm saying to you? At this point in my journey, emotional eating does not have nearly the hold on me that it used to. I'm not saying that it's gone from my life. I'm not saying it can't resurface at some point if I don't keep my guard up and do the right thing. I'm saying as of right now, it's a lot easier to battle emotional eating on this side of the 100-pound milestone than it was on the other side of the 100-pound milestone. And this is where the thoughts start to come, especially this time of year. If it's happening this time of year, the thoughts start to come that you want to quit. Oh, I'll quit and I'll just quit, do whatever I want for the holidays and get back on it after the holiday. It's very easy. I know I said this last week, but I feel like it's a very important message for this time of year because it's so easy to say, all right, I'll just take a few weeks off. I'll be back in January. Meanwhile, letting loose and not being careful in these 3 weeks or 4 weeks and for the remainder of the year, you can gain back 20 pounds, 10, 15, 20 pounds easily in this month. It's better to stay on course and do the right thing than to do whatever you want just because that's the easy road. But how can we stop ourselves from doing these things? How can we prevent what we could possibly do to ourselves? We'll talk about that after the break. Don't go anywhere. Hello, I'm Donato Russo, and I am the Ranting Weight Watcher. I wrote an affirmation. It's called the Ranter's Creed. I dedicate that affirmation to all of you who are watching. Nothing can stand in your way because you are an unstoppable force. Your challenges crumble in your presence because you are so strong. Your insecurities no longer have power over your life because you are so confident. Your mistakes are your choices, and you are okay with this because you are so intelligent. The mirror and the scale no longer haunt you because you are so beautiful. You can face any circumstance with unwavering support because you are so loved. The demons of your past can no longer torment you because you love yourself. All things are possible as long as you believe because God is on your side. You will achieve all of your goals, not if, but when, because you have no boundaries. You are the champion of your story because you do whatever it takes to win. No one can take what you've done away from you because you are the author and the hero of your story. Arise, champion. The victory is yours. Because you are enough. We are back. Thanks for sticking with me. So we're in a moment in our journey where the journey is not cooperating. It's not going as planned. We have the opportunity to prevent the bad choices because of the frustration and the emotional swings that we're having toward the situation. We have the opportunity or end the emotions before they get out of control. But how do we do it? What can we do to prevent what goes through our mind in these moments? We have to stay focused on what got us here in the first place. On the most important part of the journey. Why are you here? That's the first step. Remembering why you're here in the first place. What are your goals? We talked about this last week. Short term, long term. What are your goals? And how are your emotions going to affect those goals if you allow them to run free? Because those goals are still there regardless of what the current situation is. They didn't end. You didn't achieve them. And this is why it's so important to have the goals for moments like this. I know so many people that don't necessarily have a goal. They just keep going through the motions. And I would argue that having a goal is what causes you to go in the directions when life kicks you in the ass and you don't like it. And you're angry and you're frustrated and you just want to do whatever the hell you want to do because, that'll teach you a lesson. I'll go and binge eat to teach you a lesson because I don't have what I want right now. I've been there. We have to recognize these emotions. They're only there to make us further out of control and going in the wrong direction. They're not there to fix anything. and allowing your emotions to run free because you're entitled to have emotions, it's only going to hinder you. Not going to hinder anybody else. It's going to hinder you in the end. And what you got going on is way more important than the emotions you feel in any given moment. What are your barriers? I want you to write these down too. I don't want you to just hear me talk and just say, "Oh, that was a great podcast," and move on. I want you to write these down. What are your barriers? Don, what are barriers? What are the things you're not doing the way you should be doing them? What are your barriers? The things you know you should be doing a certain way and you know you're not doing them, I want you to make a list of those things. And whatever is the highest, you can make your own priority list here. You can put them in whatever order you want. I don't really care. As long as all of the barriers that you need to address are on the list. It's very important that you see this. You're able to see it with your eyes. And it's even more important that you're actually truthful with yourself. Honesty in writing this list, extremely important. Extremely important. You can even add to the list those goals, because you can look at your barriers and look at your goals on the same sheet of paper. And if you don't have goals, make them. If you don't want to give them time limits, fine. I don't care. I just want you to have goals that are short-term and goals that are long-term. So you have stuff to keep track of. You see, every week I announce my distance remaining to 3 goals. And the big one, the 200-pound milestone, is not even the final goal. I want to see what I look like minus 200 in order to make that decision, to reevaluate. It may be the end of losing and the beginning of building. What I mean is building muscle, or it may may not be the end at all, and I would just keep losing. But I want to know. I want to know at that moment when I get to the 200-pound milestone where I want to be, what I want to look like, or where I want to go from there. It could even be. It may not have to be bodybuilding, so to speak. It could be lean muscle I'm after. I mean, Bruce Lee, he wasn't like this built guy, but every muscle in his body was well defined. Extremely well defined. And the command he had over every muscle in his body is incredible. If you ever see, Bruce Lee had some videos where he's training people. Never mind the movies and what goes on, Hollywood and all that stuff. But he has some videos on YouTube where he's training people or teaching people things. And it's just insanity, the amount of command he has over the muscles in his body and how he can use them to benefit his martial art. And you don't have to be an enormously large person to have that, because he was not enormous by any means, but extremely strong. So that's going to end up being one of my goals. One of those two or three things. Either I'm going to keep losing once I get to 200, or I'm going to start building lean muscle, or I'm going to start building muscle, period. And I'm not really sure. But at least I have a plan of, it'll be a crossroads moment. I'll be standing at the crossroads. I'll hit the 200-pound milestone and I'll have a decision to make. I know the 200-pound milestone is not the end. It's only the beginning of the next level. And that's how I've always seen it from the beginning. So once we have your list of goals, short-term and long-term, and your list of barriers that you were truthful with yourself, we're going to start to tackle them one at a time. How will we tackle them? The exact same way I have been telling you guys to do everything else in your journey. Through building good habits, good rituals, and being consistent in those habits and rituals. So if one of those things on your list is that you don't track food. Then you're going to make a commitment, and then you're going to tackle one at a time. So if one of those things is tracking, and you want to tackle that first, you're going to make a commitment to doing that. Do I want you to track 7 days a week in the beginning? No. If you're not doing anything at all, you're not going to do it 7 days a week. You're not going to do it consistently. You might do it 1, maybe 2 weeks. So I'd rather you do it consistently 3 times a week, the full day, track the full day 3 times a week for 4 weeks, than I have you go for 14 straight days and then burn out. It's only a 2-day difference, really, in the end. Because if you're going to burn out in 2 weeks and you're going to make it 14 days before you burn out, but you make it to the end of the month doing it 3 days a week, it's a 12-day successfully done in a month versus 2 weeks straight, and then you burn out. And then you can build from there. But this is just one example. Just one example. It all depends on you. Whatever this barrier is, whatever you've listed, make a priority list. Which is the worst? Which is the least? And work on them to make consistent behaviors in those barriers for the rest of your journey. And don't try to overbite here. Just a little at a time. Make it consistent. Make the little bit consistent. You can add it. Make that added part consistent. Then you could add some more. The consistency part of this all is what's going to give you the lasting change you need. Because if you keep quitting every single time you get to this point, if you keep looking for something else to do when you get to this point, oh, this is not working, I'm going to try intermittent fasting. Oh, this is not working, I'm going to try keto. Oh, this is not working. Meanwhile, I mean, out of anybody you hear talking about that, if I sat with them and I'd say, okay, make me this list of barriers, if they were actually honest, there's no way they can deny that keto, intermittent fasting, whatever it is, it will not help them either if they keep these behaviors up. It may work in the beginning, but once they get to their moment when they are spiraling around again, going around in that circle again, they didn't break the cycle. They're going right back into it. I don't care the name of the program. Nutrisystem, Slim, Fast, Herbalife. I don't care. I don't care. If you keep doing your behaviors the way you are with Weight Watchers, and if you have the nerve to say that this is not working for you, then if you don't correct those behaviors wherever you go next, you're going to be saying the same thing about that program. It's not going to be until you face whatever it is that's causing you to have these barriers that anything is going to change. All is not lost. It's not too late. I mean, if you're still hearing my voice, it's definitely not too late. Definitely not. Here's the one thing I know. When people are frustrated with their journey, the last thing they want to do is hear stories about the journey. The last thing they want to do is talk about the journey. The last thing they want to do is anything that has to do with it. That's including this podcast. That's including this podcast. There are plenty of people, when they get to these moments in their journey, stop listening because they just don't want to hear it. I'm not faulting anyone for anything, but I'm saying this is what happens. So if you're here and you're feeling the way you're feeling, and you're here and you hear the sound of my voice, it is not over yet. You're not nearly as bad as you thought you were. And we can turn it around. We can turn it around. And if you want me to help, email the show, whatever. Send me a message. I'll help you. I'll help you think it out. Sometimes people just need to be guided through their thinking. Sometimes there's so many thoughts, and to organize them in a fashion where, especially where they make it to a piece of paper, sometimes it takes people asking questions in order for you to get the answers you need. You can't create the questions and the answers, if you can understand the analogy. So let's work together. Let's make that list of barriers. And let's start to build on the consistency of the first one, the biggest one. Or if you want to start with the smallest one, let's start with the smallest one. It's up to you. This is your journey. If you want to start with an easy one and make it consistent so you feel what a taste of success in creating consistency in something, hey, by all means. This is no written in stone method here. I just took what someone said. It takes 3 weeks to build a habit. 21 days to build a habit. I just took that idea and added an extra week. That's all I'm asking you to do. Get a paper, get a pen. Let's make that list. If you want to start with the barriers, start with the barriers and then go to the goals. But I want them both. I want short-term goals and long-term goals. Or term brings up time. I guess what I'm trying to say is small goals and large goals. Small achievable ones and then big picture goals. I want them both. If you're one of those people that says, I don't have any goals, I'm just going to do it. No, not going to work. The most successful people on the planet have goals. Why do you think they're so successful? And I'm not even talking about in weight loss. I'm talking about in business, every aspect of life. These rules apply to everything. They're disciplined. They have goals. And they do what's required to achieve those goals. Everybody wants to talk about luck. When someone else achieves something that they've wanted to do their entire life, everybody else wants to talk about how they're lucky. There's no such thing as luck. There's just work. And those willing to put the work in and those unwilling to put the work in. Even someone who plays lotto and wins is not lucky. Hear what I'm saying to you. Even someone who plays lotto and wins is not lucky. There is no such thing as luck. How is that possible, Don? It's like a 1 in a billion chance of hitting the lottery. You have better chance of getting hit by lightning than getting hitting lottery. What is required to play lotto? What is required? $1. Yeah. What else is required? You have to get dressed. You have to shower. You have to get dressed. You have to get in your car. You have to drive to the store. You have to hand the man your dollar and get your quick pick. Or you're going to get that little card and you're going to fill it out with a little pencil and give that to the man with your dollar and get your ticket. All of those things I just listed, that's the work required. Are you guaranteed the result? No. Nobody's guaranteed results in anything. In business, in weight loss, in life, in school, it's not guaranteed. Nobody is guaranteed the result. Everybody is guaranteed the opportunity. You make of it whatever you're going to get from it. How could somebody win lotto if they never get their clothes on, get in the car, and go buy a ticket? How can they win it? They can't. How can someone hit a jackpot in a casino if they never get dressed, showered, in a car, and head to the casino? They can't. Even these things that seem like luck is involved have work. It may not seem like work to you, but it is the requirement in order to achieve what you're trying to achieve. You can't achieve winning lottery if you never drive to the place and buy a ticket. You can't achieve hitting jackpot if you never drive to the casino. That's the work involved. There is no luck. There's only the opportunity. There is no guarantee of the result. Most of all, I want you to take from this podcast this week. Look, this time of year is a tough time of year to get through. We're all going through stuff. We all got stressful situations to deal with. And typically, the one easy thing to do is forget about the things you're trying to do for yourself and just make everything happen for everybody else. And I'm asking you, as much as you want to do that to make life easier on yourself, I'm just saying, don't quit. You don't need to quit. We all have stress. We all have things we're dealing with. Just reach out. Reach out to me, to anybody. And just look for a lifeline to help you weather the storm. You're going to be better off in January if you don't quit today than you will be if you do. Now, here I sit on Thursday night. I am hours away before the podcast needs to be submitted so that it can come out to you on Friday, tomorrow. The podcast has been completed and edited for days, and I have been searching since Tuesday for the right music to really end the podcast with, like I like to do every week, very inspirationally. But nothing met my standards this week. And maybe it was by design. I'll get to that in a second. But nothing met my standards. Sometimes when I don't know, I think music is my muse because it speaks to me in weird ways. Sometimes I hear a song and words pop in my head, and these words turn into a poem, or these words turn into a speech for the end of the podcast. So as I searched and searched and searched for the music, nothing met my standards. I didn't like anything I was hearing. I wasn't getting that feeling like this is the one. I wasn't getting anything. But like I said, maybe it was by design. I have a Facebook group called the Ranting Weight Watcher Consistency Challenge. We are a group of approximately 60 members, and we're all helping each other stay accountable for things we want to become more consistent in. And every month, we all make commitments to ourselves. People post videos, or they just put written pictures or posts or whatever, and they say what they're going to plan on for the month. We're currently in the month of December, and everybody has their own way. Everybody's on their own journey, so everybody's working on something different. It's not as if collectively we are working on the same thing, except for the fact that we're all working on becoming consistent. It's just in different areas. But one of our members, Cindy, made a post, and she wrote basically, I'm not going to really get into it, but she wrote what she was planning to work on for the month of December. She ended her post. Now, the post has a picture of her dashboard, and it's being taken at whatever time because it's all dark and all you can see is the lighting of the dashboard. And on the screen of the car she's listening to my podcast. And she said, she ends her post with, and of course, continuing my plan to listen to Rant-A-Claus on my commute to work. Ho, ho, ho. And I thought as much as I love Christmas, I thought this was the most amazing nickname I had ever been given in my entire life. Rant-A-Claus. I could think of a bunch of nicknames I was bullied with that this Rant-A-Claus just makes it feel like they never existed. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I made a post later in the week saying that I was going to take this and run with it. And I was going to become Rant-A-Claus for the month of December. And so another one of our members, Charlotte, decided she'd go her own way with this. And we're going to end our podcast a very special way today. She basically rewrote a song and sang it for the group. And she gave me permission to let all of you hear the song. So here it is from our group member, Charlotte. Here comes Rant-A-Claus.
Hi guys, every once in a while you have a really crazy idea that seemed like a good idea at the time and you're thinking to yourself, well, we'll see how it goes. So here goes nothing. Here comes Rant-A-Claus, here comes Rant-A-Claus, right down Rant-A-Claus Lane. He has a podcast that will help you lose the weight you gained. Ranting Weight Watcher is his alias, but we all know who he is. Yells it's Friday with such gusto, it's like he's in showbiz. Here comes Rant-A-Claus, here comes Rant-A-Claus, right down Rant-A-Claus Lane. He motivates and encourages not to quit again. Every Friday, so excited, a podcast sure to inspire. So jump in bed, cover up your head, 'cause Rant-A-Claus drops tonight. Here comes Rant-A-Claus, here comes Rant-A-Claus, right down Rant-A-Claus Lane. Keeps on preaching, be consistent over and over again. When he says the Ranter's Creed, he tells me I can do it. Calls you out on your excuses you've used in your head. Here comes Rant-A-Claus, here comes Rant-A-Claus, right down Rant-A-Claus Lane. He has a podcast that will help you lose the weight you gained. Donato Russo is his name, I heard he's gonna go live. So jump in bed, cover up your head, 'cause Rant-A-Claus drops tonight. And we know the pounds will drop if we just do what's right. So let's give thanks to the Lord above, 'cause Rant-A-Claus drops tonight. So let's give thanks to the Lord above, 'cause Rant-A-Claus drops tonight. So now you've heard your stupid Christmas song for the season. Merry Christmas to y'all.
Oh my God. That is the best thing has ever happened to me. I swear it is. I love it. I absolutely love it. I probably heard it like 4 or 5 times already, and I can't get over it. I love it so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It has touched my heart. Oh my God, it's so awesome. It's so awesome. What better way to end a podcast? Well, until next week, I love each and every one of you. God bless you all.